Hello, dear friends. Happy Life Chapter 185. Sooner or later, suffering will reach your heart, for it is an integral component of life in progress. Without suffering, arrogance, despotism, and violence would become unbearable. Since humans still don't listen to the soft voice of love, afflictions smooth out their rough edges and persuades them to reflect, to pursue the good. At times, people react, blaspheme, kick, and scream, but finally surrender, which is the only way to break free. So don't rebel in the face of suffering. It will make your predicament even worse, and you will wear yourself out needlessly. Active acceptance, i.e., the conversion of suffering into experience, is what brings about the miracle of success. This is a really important lesson for all of us in all times, particularly in the times that we find ourselves in, understanding that suffering will hit our door at some point. And it has hit so many doors lately, right? We are dealing with a very, very tough moment in our humanity. It is an important and integral component of life in progress. And part of the reason why suffering is still so prevalent in our humanity is the fact that we are still very slow at choosing love. And we are still, to a good extent, very attached to the material reality and very unconscious of our own immortality. And it sounds funny because that's what we talk about all the time. But our concept of immortality is very cognitive at this time. And we are still pretty far from being able to really integrate this concept into our lives. Therefore, we make a lot of errors. We make a lot of poor choices for ourselves because our mode of operation is still very much materialistic. So therefore, suffering will be an important component of the educational process of the soul. As Joanna says here, without suffering, arrogance, despotism, and violence will become unbearable. So it's necessary that we have this share of suffering to help us to stop, to help us to reflect, to help us to connect what is really essential in life. Otherwise, we would just keep going like, carelessness and in some crazy ways, destructive ways, destroying others and destroying our own selves. So it's through suffering, right, that in afflictions that we have our rough edges smoothed, and again, that windows are open for reflection, where we stop the madness. We're hit by limitations, we're hit by suffering, and now we have to reflect, we have to reconsider, we have to figure out what is it that we need to do differently in order to suffer less. So don't rebel in face of suffering, and she will end by inviting us to active resignation. Active resignation in itself has to be active, otherwise it's not resignation, right? Resignation is an acceptance with an understanding that that circumstance has a purpose in our lives. When we understand that everything has a purpose, we accept and we seek to learn from that situation. So that becomes an active resignation, something that brings acceptance, and with acceptance decreases the amount of suffering, because so much of the pain that we feel comes from resisting what life brings us. So embracing the experience, embracing the pain, understanding that that is a pedagogical tool that is there to help you, not to destroy you, to lift you, not to put you down. So if you approach it from this way, then it will allow you to reflect on what are the lessons and the learning that need to be done, and you will come out of it stronger and wiser than before, and most importantly, hopefully softer and more prone and open to love. So that, my friends, is the path for happiness. And understanding, accepting, and embracing wholeheartedly is the way for happier days. Have a good one today.